Good morning, guys. Welcome back to my channel. My name is David Feldman-Makrias, and what we're going to be talking about today is client rank. What does client rank really mean? So, if you're familiar with Google Ads and you're familiar with anything SEO, you'll be familiar with what rank is, right? Where do you rank on the search results page? Everybody wants to rank number one or number two or number three or whatever they can afford, so on and so forth. What's the ideal way? Well, you want to rank as high as high as you can for certain amount of keywords, certain amount of activity, whatever it is, whatever it is. So I wanted to talk about client rank. What is client rank? Well, something that I use internally for my clients. And the main reason I use client rank is because you have to somehow prioritize clients. I mean, all agency owners will be aware of this, anyone that has been successful. And how do you typically rank clients? Well, it's an order of billing, right? I mean, we are businesses after all, and revenue is the key driver. It's the key driver. What matters to us the most is how much we're getting billed. Or I'm sorry, how much we're billing, how much revenue we're generating. And that's how we prioritize clients. So, what I mean by client rank is if you don't already have this, you have to have some sort of systemized grid, spec sheet, what have you. Not only that you know your client rank, but your team also has to know that too, because when priorities come in, um, when a bunch of different items come in that needs to be fulfilled and needs to be done and completed, people need to know what needs to come first. And inherently, if everybody's running around like with their heads cut off, trying to just do everything and everything's an urgent number one, it's not how it should go. There needs to be a system of when tickets come in or when requests come in or phone calls come in. There needs to be a system and structure on how to handle it, how to backtrack it, so on and so forth. And I think it's really important because most agency owners and most business owners will understand that, okay, they know internally this client is really important to us because of the amount they spend with us or the revenue that they're generating for us, so on and so forth. But it's also important to let your team know that too, because as you expand, you're going to need people with you, and you're going to need those people to understand exactly what goes into, hey, this is the main client that we need to satisfy. Now, there's also a fine line. There's also a fine line of, there's also a fine line. Let me see if I can make my circle bigger. Can I do that? There's also a fine line of clients saying, even your top spending client, you need to be able to balance this out, right? And this is in any industry, any client industry where it's service based. You need to be able to balance it out as far as you don't want to be doing too much work for not enough money. To give additional value, I'm always a fan of because I think that it keeps you hungry, it keeps you sharp, and it keeps you in it and it hedges off competition. So I have no problem doing that. However, there does come a fine line, right? There comes a fine line with um, doing too much for what you're getting paid, even if they are your top client. So, how do you get out of that aspect? Well, one of the things that you need to do as far as client rank is on a similar document, and we can make a document together right now, just kind of internalizing some of the ideas that we have here. Let's minimize this little circle. Oh, big circle. I like that. This will be blurred out because this is all my Google Drive. Okay, so let's say we're doing client rank, right? This is just different ideas on how to organize it. Client rank. So client rank You do it by billing. That's how I would do it. So revenue, or yeah, revenue is fine. So then client rank, revenue, and then you also have to have time spent or hours fulfilled, whatever. I like to map it out in hours because no matter how you charge as an agency, what is the main currency that you have? It's time. So that's how I value pretty much everything when I'm putting together billing structures or when I'm putting together pricing models. Some clients prefer retainers. Some clients don't mind hourly billing. Some clients prefer custom packages. But honestly, you have to back into everything as far as time spent or hours fulfilled. And as you get higher and higher and attract more and more clients, then you don't have to, you set the pricing model. You set the pricing structure. So let's say we have a couple clients. We have one, two, three. Revenue would be, you know what? I'm going to say GP because that's even more important. Oh, you know what? Let's do another one. We'll keep this as revenue, but then we'll make this gross profit. So maybe one client is $30,000 in revenue, but they're only $5,000 in profit. And then maybe another client, depending upon the surface, is $14,000 in revenue, but it's $3,000 in profit. Um, and then maybe another client is 55,000 and then 7,000. I mean, it'll be relative. Revenue or gross profit will be relative to revenue. And this is gross profit, I mean, before COGS and all that good stuff. So these are the main factors that are going to determine client rank. In reality, it's not all about revenue. It's really about what you make gross profit wise. That's really what matters. So your client rank, your number one determinant, I should say, is going to be gross profit. So if we were to organize this based on this, um, I would do one, two, three. Just based off purely gross profit. Now, if your agency is charging, let's say, $150 an hour, you know, so $150 per hour. I'm just using a round number. It could be less, could be more. As a general consulting, and we're talking about, and this doesn't even have to just be online marketing. It could be any service-based business where you serve clients or serve a company. But a good way to do it is just back into it very simply. And you know what? We'll put a filter on here because why not? And Z to A. No, we'll do A to Z. So one, two, three. So I see my client rank in terms of gross profit is $7,000. They spend the highest amount of revenue. Makes sense. You'll have some that are proportionate to that. And then what you can do, you gotta do if it's 150. I don't want to set this up. You can say min hours and max hours if you want. So I'm not even going to do min hours. Doesn't make sense. Max hours. I mean, this is a very, very simplified model. So you're going to take your 7,000 in gross profit, right? This divided by 150. So based on your hourly rate, you can spend 46 hours on that client each month if you want to make $150 an hour and you make revenue. Did I do revenue or gross profit wrong? What did I do? Revenue, you can spend 46 hours in labor on that client if you want to do it that way, right? So that's one way to do it. It's very simplistic. And agencies, I'd say premier agencies and big agencies will make much more than that, especially if they've optimized and streamlined their time. But this is a very, very quick way to assess what's going on. So now you have, how many hours is this? You have 100 hours. So if you're a freelancer and you have a 40-hour work week, 160 hours a month, and you make this a month, you're making $15,000 in gross profit a month. So let's figure, anywhere from profiting 10 grand for a 40-hour work week. It's not bad. You can do that. That's not super difficult in this day and age, I'd say. Now, if you really want to maximize it, scale it, and do all that good stuff, you have to be better about spending the time and maximizing the gross profit and minimizing the amount of time that it actually takes your business to do it, because it's all about time. Now, you may think like, okay, is it even fair? Is it even fair to charge a client so much per month? If they get the benefit from it and they can justify the benefit and justify the value that you receive for what you charge, yes, it absolutely is. So always keep that in mind as well. Again, we got a little off topic from client rank, but client rank kind of gives you the holistic perspective of exactly how to prioritize clients, how your team can prioritize clients, so on and so forth. And honestly, I think it's very, very important that your team knows a an ideal, maybe not all of your team members, to be honest, should know an ideal hour amount, whatever that is for you. But as a manager, as a business owner, or what have you, you should know. You should know what needs to go in there, and you should be able to track it. Now, time tracking is tough. There are tools that can do that, but there's a lot of manual input. You don't want to spend too much time clocking in and clocking out for each client, but you need to have some perspective of how long it takes you to do things, to see if they're efficient or not, or where the inefficiencies lie. So I do think it's important, however, for your team and for the people in the fulfillment side to be able to understand what the client rank is, so that when items come in, they know how to prioritize their day, rather than having a manager or yourself trying to help them prioritize. It makes a lot more sense to do it this way. So that's what I mean by client rank. Um, there are other factors that go into client rank as well. um, how nice they are, how easy they are to work with. I mean, that's always a factor as well. Um, but the main factor is going to be gross profit for the agency, and that's how you rank clients. Now, hopefully, this gives a nice idea of how you can back into it, how you can understand and prioritize client rank, and why it's important to do that for your team. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for today, and I will see you guys in the next installment. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, what have you, and then we'll see you later.